Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It is August 12th, 2024, and we are inching closer and closer to the 2024 election between Donald Trump and Kamala Harris. And in today's video, we are going to be outlining the top 3 most likely 2024 election scenarios, in which I'll fill out 3 different maps based on what I believe is the 1, 2, and third likeliest scenarios to happen. But before we get started on this map, let's go back and take a look at what the national popular vote is looking like. Right now, Kamala Harris leads by around 0.5%, where she has 47.6% of the vote. Donald Trump is at 47.1%. This comes as Harris had seen a slew of polls in her favor, going down from Civics to Marquette all the way up to Morning Consult and Marist on the top over here. For some reason, we haven't had another poll in quite a little bit, and we are waiting for some more polls to come. The last 2 we had received are favorable towards Trump, while the past 5, 6, 7, maybe even up to 10 before that were very favorable for Kamala Harris. So let's wait for this next cycle of polls to see where the national environment is going to shift. But we can see back in history and compare this to August 12, 2020. Biden was up by 7.5%. Hillary Clinton was up by 6.3%. So even though Kamala Harris has a lead, it is definitely a lot less of a lead than what these candidates have. And this is why I think that Donald Trump is more favored to win this election, because the polls historically are very bad for the Democrats in the fact that they always underestimate their margins. But checking out now some of the key battleground states, Donald Trump up 1.5% in Arizona. He's up 0.6% in the state of Georgia. Michigan, Kamala Harris is up 2.4%. Nevada, Trump is up 3.7%. North Carolina, Trump is up 3.2%. Pennsylvania, 0.8% for Trump. And Wisconsin, 0.8% for Harris. And this altogether doesn't even make sense for the fact that Trump is up 3.7% in Nevada, but down 2.4% in Michigan. And that's why, polls once again have gone into this phase as they did the last 2 cycles, where they just don't make sense anymore. Starting with that Bloomberg poll that had Donald Trump up 4 in Pennsylvania against Harris, but down 11 in Michigan, which does not make any sense whatsoever. Anyways, without further ado, let us get to this map and fill out the first and most likely 2024 election scenario. In this scenario, I see Donald Trump winning all of these states by 12 percentage points or more, and these will be all the states up in the western side of the U.S., the Midwest down here, the South, Iowa and Ohio, Maine 2nd District. All these states will be in that safe column. For Democrats, the most likely scenario would be them winning all of these states over here in that safe column. Over here, New York and Maine's 1st District. So this would be the map going into this. It would be 167 to 149. In the likely column, we have Colorado going in that column. We have New Jersey going in that column. And that'll be it for Republicans. We're going to have Texas and Florida going in that likely column right there. Going to the lean column, we're going to have the states of New Mexico, Virginia, Minnesota, New Hampshire, and Maine. Quite a slew of states going into that lean column. For me, this is the most likely scenario, having all these states go between 2 and 6 percentage points. Just quite a little bit less from 2020, but still in that Democrat column. I have the state of North Carolina, most likely scenario, going between 2 and 6 percentage points for Donald Trump. We're also going to have the states of Arizona and Nevada going in that column. For the Democrats in that tilt column, they're going to take Nebraska second. And then the rest of these states all are going to be in that tilt column for Donald Trump. And this right here would be my most likely scenario for the 2020 election. Similar to what I had this, Trump versus Biden around a couple months ago before Trump really took off, and where he became a lot closer in Minnesota and New Mexico and Virginia and New Hampshire. But right now, this is what I see it's going to happen. I think after the convention especially, Donald Trump is going to go a little bit back. And this is probably the most likely map that we're going to see. We're going to have Trump at 312 and then Harris at 226. The reason why I would say that Michigan is more favored to vote for Trump than Biden is because of the fact that she has no appeal in the state to begin with. The Midwest over here is an area that already is trending to the right over the past many years. Trump did very good in this state against Biden, and I see no reason why Harris would do that much better for her to be, especially here, up by 2.4%. And there isn't much polling out of this state anyways. We need more polling. I mean, we have polls like this where she's up by 11 percentage points. That does not even make sense at all. And where the Democrat internal has him up by 2. Once again, this cycle is very interesting with the polling and how inconsistent it has been. But that's going to be our first scenario. Going now to our second scenario. In our second scenario, we're going to have the pretty similar safe states going into this. We're going to have all these states going into this safe column for Donald Trump. Almost all of these same states will be going into that safe column, apart from Iowa, Ohio, and Maine's 2nd District. For Kamala Harris, she's going to win all of these states over here, which would be in that safe column. She is going to be adding a couple states. So this right here would be a little bit more favorable for Democrats. While this map, the most likely would probably be a Trump plus 0.5 to Trump plus 1 win in the popular vote. This right here would probably be a Harris plus 1 to Harris plus 2 popular vote win. So once again, not that strongly favored toward Kamala Harris, but still enough to move some of these states either way. And that would move Iowa and Ohio in that higher end of the likely column. It would also keep all of these states in that likely column as well. For Democrats, though, we're going to have New Mexico in that likely column over there. Republicans will win Maine's 2nd District in that likely column. And then moving up, we're going to keep Maine in the likely column for Democrats over here. The rest of these states will be more competitive. However, even though Kamala Harris will win the popular vote between 1 and 2 percentage points, I still don't see her winning the Electoral College as easily. However, this is the only way in which she will do it, I think, by winning these states by a lean amount, all of these states over here. Trump still, I think, will carry the state of North Carolina by a lean margin just because of how favorable he is in that state versus her and versus Joe Biden. So this state will stay in that lean column. However, all of these other states will be a lot more favorable for Kamala Harris due to the fact that she will make inroads among those African American voters if this scenario does play out, if she wins by around 2% the popular vote or even a little more. She will still, in my opinion, lose the states of Arizona and Nevada by a tilt margin. She will be very favorable in the state of Michigan, winning it by a tilt margin. And this probably election scenario will come down to the states of Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, and Georgia. In the state of Wisconsin, I see Trump holding an advantage, even with Kamala Harris winning the popular vote by 2 percentage points or more. I see the state of Georgia being one of the closest races ever, but in this scenario, still I would see Donald Trump being able to clinch this state, and then Kamala Harris winning the state of Pennsylvania. And this right here would be probably one of the best case scenarios for Kamala Harris. The best case scenario I could see for Kamala Harris, but she would have to win the popular vote by 3 percentage points or more, would be this map for her. This for me, for Kamala Harris, would probably be the best she can do. Maybe add Georgia, but that would be really, really a stretch. But for her to probably get this map, she would probably have to win the popular vote by around 3 percentage points. Joe Biden won the popular vote by 4.5, and he barely won the election by a combined vote of 40,000 in Wisconsin, Georgia, and Arizona. But this right here would be the map for that scenario going into it, 278 to 260, with Wisconsin being ever so slightly in Donald Trump's column, as well as the state of Georgia. Moving now to the third scenario, and this is the unlikeliest of all these three scenarios. And this is a scenario in which Donald Trump absolutely runs the table, and his margins that he had going into this with Joe Biden return. He wins the popular vote by 3 percentage points, and going that Kamala Harris would perform worse than him. This would be the scenario in which Donald Trump would perform the best in. And in this scenario, he will be winning all these states in the safe margin that we are used to putting in. He will add Texas into that safe margin for him, 12 percentage points or more. He will be adding the state of Florida also in that margin for him. And this would be what he starts with, 219. For Democrats, they'll win all of these states by 12 percentage points or more. A lot of states will be going down from that safe margin to likely, and they will start only with 137 electoral votes. In that likely column, Donald Trump will be adding the state of North Carolina in there, as well as the state of Georgia. Seeing that Georgia was so favorable against Joe Biden, we are implying here that Kamala Harris dips down to Joe Biden's unfavorables as the cycle goes on. But once again, I think this is very unlikely, given that it is the most unlikely scenario out of the three. She will still win these states by a likely margin. Going into those lean margin states, Donald Trump will be winning all of these states by a lean margin, absolutely running the table in this election. He'll be winning Nebraska second by a lean margin as well. She will still hold on to the state of Colorado by a lean margin, as well as the state of Maine by a lean margin. She will hold on to New Hampshire by a tilt margin, as well as all the rest of these states over here. Despite her performing pretty poorly in the polls, if we take that into consideration, this, I still think she would barely crack out these remaining states over here by a tilt margin. I see the possibility of the state of New Hampshire flipping into Trump's column, but for the sake of this map, I'm going to keep it in that column and give it to her by less than 2 percentage points. And that right there would be the three most likely scenarios for this election. And these do not change much on which states go to who, but are more on the margins of each state moving to each candidate. For example, now I see the most likely scenario, 312 to 226. And this scenario is also only 313 to 225. This one's 278 to 260. As we can see, most of these states will be unchanged because of how polarized we are. But still, the margins are very important as well. And these are the most likely margins that I see. Under 2% in the Rust Belt, under 2% in Georgia, 2 to 6 in these states over here. And then we have 6 or over in these over here, 6 to 12. And then the rest would be safe, 12 and above. So we can see how a little bit changes from here to here. Especially, we can make some differences in the Rust Belt. This is the main place to really look at when we're considering predicting these elections, because this is where the elections are won. Like in this scenario over here, the most likely scenario, we have Donald Trump winning all of the states pretty comfortably down here. These states all vote for him by less than 2 percentage points. Minnesota's fairly close. Illinois is unchanged. And in this scenario, we see Iowa and Ohio dropping under 12 percentage points. And what does that do? That also equates to all of these states moving to the left. And in this scenario where Donald Trump just runs the table, he will win these states by a safe margin, and then the 3 upper Rust Belt states by a lean margin. So that'll be the 3 most likely maps in my opinion. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please like and subscribe, and put all your comments down in the comment section below. I'll check you guys out in the next one.